All right. So, hello everyone. This is Dr. Swati Mishra from International School of Business Management at Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur, and we will be continuing with our sessions of project management. In the initial first unit of project management, we have taken an overview of what project is. Then we moved ahead and discussed as to what exactly we should understand by the terminology project management. We also discussed the roles of a project manager and the attributes that a good project manager should have. Post that, we have discussed some important terminologies in project management, including design management also. I have given you a brief overview of the design management also. And today we shall move ahead with the overview of project management in continuation with the previous sessions. And we'll be continuing with the introductory part of project management in today's session also. So basically, whenever we talk about project management, successful project management, you know, would be considered only when, three goals of project management are achieved in unison. And what are these three goals of project management? They are depicted in front of you on the screen, and we have shown them as the triple constraints of project management. Now, what are these three constraints that are supposed to be kept in mind when we are designing a project and thinking over continuing with our project? So, the main three things that we have to aim at are the scope of the project, the cost of the project, and the goal of the project, or we could say the timely finishing of the project, right? So whenever we are keeping these three things in mind, and in unison, we are trying in unison with these three dimensions of a project, then we are trying to achieve or complete our project on time. Only then can we expect our project to be successful, right? We had studied this in the first session. We are just, continuing with the same theories and going in depth with these theories. So by 2001, you know, uh, there were reports which showed that, decided improvements and project success can be achieved through well organized and well planned projects. You know, any kind of time overruns which could be significantly decreased through well planned projects, any kind of cost overruns. uh, Earlier they used to be somewhere around 200% or nearly 200%. They were brought down by 50%. The costs were curbed down by 50% by the start of this millennia, uh, due to good project management. There are some, required features and functions of project and project management which are supposed to be understood by the project manager and the team of the project. And once these required features and functions are well understood, only then can you actually expect the project to be successful in future. So, slowly these features and functions also increased and enhancements were done in them around, you know the success ratio of projects around the globe has also shown a widespread increase. Like in US also, it was reported that around 28,000 projects were successful out of 78,000 projects. Similarly, any kind of IT projects, they were starting to become more successful out Earlier they used to be only 16%, and now around 28% of the projects were found to be successful. So slowly the success ratio of the projects was increasing, right? So that is why this project management was found to be very, very, improvement oriented and goal oriented, and slowly the success ratio of the projects was increasing with the imbibement of the project management in the functioning of the organizations. So, why these improvements were required actually, right? That is supposed to be understood by every project manager also, and every team member of the project. That why do we need these improvements? Uh, Whenever we consider any project, and obviously for any project that we are working in, we desire that the project should be successful, right? So, the reasons behind the success of the project may vary, and you know those reasons could be related to any of the three dimensions that I just mentioned to you: the scope, the time, the cost, right? So there could be multiple reasons for which we would require these improvements. Maybe to average the cost of a project, which has been more than, you know double earlier, and now has been cut to half due to the improvement by 2020. I had shown you some statistics of 2001 in the previous slide, but now by 2020 we find only 50% of those costs which used to be earlier in 2020. So they have been curbed down by more than 100%. Earlier they were 200%, and now they are only 50%. So there is a curbing down of around 150% actually. Similarly, better tools have been created to monitor and control the programs. Uh, you know, we had also discussed the monitoring and controlling of project management and the projects in the previous session that I had taken, wherein I had told you about the different tools and techniques that could be used for monitoring of those projects and how controls can be exercised on the projects. So, better tools have been created to monitor and control the programs, and you know, better mechanisms have been designed. More scientific, methodologies have been implemented while implementing the monitoring and controlling in any kind of project. So, slowly from 2000 onwards till 2020, we have seen the projects improving day by day, with costs coming down and better monitoring and controlling activities being carried out in those projects to control and monitor each and every activity of the project, and report them simultaneously to the team leads along with the stakeholders or the sponsors of the project. Now we can see that better skilled project managers with better management processes understandings are now working upon those projects in the project teams. They know how to actually implement each and every skill properly. They know what skills their team members should have. They exactly know, in the expertise that their team members are carrying, and that is why they place their correct team members at the correct point or at the correct job. And when they are deploying the correct employee skills at correct positions, it is very obvious that more fruitful results can be actually achieved out of the project that is being carried out. So that is why, better skilled project managers are always giving better results today as compared to the earlier eras when project management was not taken very seriously as a stream, and the projects weren't actually carried out in such a scientific manner. And today, of course, we are studying project management as a course, and project management in itself is a separate stream in management studies for MBA as well as BBA students. So that is why this uh, stream becomes so important for all the project managers along with the team members of the project who are working on any project, right? So that is why, these improvements were sought after, and they were you know included or involved or introduced in the project management area, and slowly they started showing their record uh, performances and improvements in the functioning and the methods which were included in projects. And slowly the project quality is improved, and thus to achieve all the three goals of project management, these improvements were highly necessary. So let's move ahead now and discuss it further. So, as we all know that, just take a few slides as the refresher. We know that project management is the application of the knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to the project activities in order to, meet the project requirements. So, whenever you are applying all the knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques, whether achieved through studies, some degree courses, some certified courses, or maybe just by experience, you know. So all these this set of skills and tools and techniques and knowledge that have been actually achieved, and they have been applied by the project managers to meet the requirements of the project, it is called as project management. So, whenever asked, this is the formal definition of project management that you should be able to give. So, now if I ask you, that you've understood what are the key project areas, so how do we actually apply them in the project management framework? So, this is a very schematic representation or a diagrammatic representation, you can say, that I'm showing on your screen right now. Now, see, whenever a project is started, it started with some hopes or some aims by the stakeholders or the sponsors of the project. Now, obviously, these stakeholders have some kind of expectations out of that project, or maybe that project is meant to, fulfill the needs of the, stakeholders, right? So there are some key knowledge areas that have been pre-decided or predefined, which are supposed to function in an integrated manner with the facilitating functions to actually integrate the project management as a whole, that project management process as a whole. Right. So, what are these key knowledge areas? There are some major knowledge areas and some core functions, like, first of all, the scope management, the time management, the cost management, along with quality management. Then, of course, the rest of the things like, the HR management, communication management, risk management, then procurement management. So these are all the key facilitating functions that are actually integrated together to create a proper performance based project management. These are actually the core functions that formulate your tools and techniques of the project management. And once these tools and techniques are pre-decided and outlined, they are implemented on the project and actual application begins, which means actually the project initiates after the application of these core functions and facilitating functions. And after these core functions and facilitating functions are functioning in unison, uh, and applied as the tools and techniques on the project, later on, the project portfolio is created and multiple projects are taken in accordance, and priority wise these projects are completed, which ultimately lead to the success of the enterprise which is carrying out that project. Or maybe you can say that it leaves the stakeholders getting their expectations and needs fulfilled, and ultimately leads to the satisfaction of these stakeholders. So this is what is the framework of the project management. So whenever you need to explain the framework of the project management, you can refer to this schematic representation of the project management framework and just elaborate it to make it understandable for others also and yourself also. So now just have a let's have a look at the different parts of project management framework that we have just discussed. As I said, that the first part was the stakeholders whose needs and expectations have to be fulfilled. So who are these stakeholders? They're the people who are involved in that project or maybe are affected by the activities of the project, right? They could be the project sponsors, project team, supporting staff of the project, the customers of the project, the users of the project, the suppliers of the project, and of course, the opponents of the project also. So, now as I move ahead with that framework that I have just explained to you, I spoke about the 9 project management knowledge areas. So, what are these knowledge areas? Let's try to describe the key competencies that project managers must develop. So, there are, somewhere around 4 core knowledge areas which lead to the specific project objectives. And apart from the 3 main dimensions of project that I spoke about at the start of this session, scope, time, and cost, the fourth core knowledge area is the quality. Because unless we are keeping the quality constraint into consideration, the scope, time, and cost would not lead to efficient project management or maybe good quality of project management unless the quality constraint is also kept in mind. Because many a times what happens is that whenever we are trying to you know optimally settle down the rest of the 3 uh, you know dimensions of the project, which are the scope, time, and cost, when we are trying to you know bring in a synergistic effect out of these, sometimes it happens that we try to compromise with the quality. Like whenever we are trying to finish the project in time, what will happen? We in the quest of finishing the project in time or meeting the deadlines, we will ignore the quality of the work done. In the haste of doing all the activities faster, we would be compromising with the quality. Why? Because we also have to keep constraints, uh, you know, in mind also. Why do we need to keep these constraints in mind? And the reason is that we need to curb down the cost. We need to finish the project in within the deadline. And while maintaining all this, it mostly happens that we start compromising with the costs of the project, the quality of the project. So that is why the fourth objective that has been introduced here, or the fourth core knowledge area that has been introduced over here, is the quality. Then there are four facilitating knowledge areas that I just spoke about. That I've also represented them in the lower half of this diagram. If you can see over here, the facilitating functions: HR, communication management, risk management, and procurement management. Right. So let's talk about them also. They are basically the means through which the project objectives, the above mentioned objectives of uh, scope, time, meeting the scope, time, cost, and quality, or the main objective of the project, are actually achieved, right? Because what is human resources doing? Human resources management is actually supplying the human resources at the particular work package of the work breakdown structure. That may be at one particular work package of the work breakdown structure, some kind of specific skill holding human resource was required. So the human resource management's job is to provide that human resource or at that work package, or that level of work breakdown structure, or maybe that particular department at that particular time. Similarly, what is the role of communication management? That is trying to you know communicate each and every information about the project from the higher authorities to the lower authorities, and from the lower authorities upstream towards the higher authorities, and also outside the project to the suppliers, the other stakeholders, the funding agencies, the customers, and the consumers. Similarly, if we talk about the risk management, what is risk management doing? We have discussed it multiple times in the previous 2 3 sessions. Risk management is actually predicting what kind of risks may arise in future, whether technological, whether economic, whether political, some natural calamities, any kind of competitors entering your markets, or maybe a sudden uh, decrease in the supply of human resources, funds, capital, raw material, anything like that may arise in future. What is risk management doing? It is making the project team proactive and ready to meet the contingencies that arise in future. Similarly, then there is procurement management, which is another facilitating area. It facilitates you to procure the supply of raw materials, funds, any other type of resources that are required by the project, and supply that to the project at correct place and correct time. So that is why these 3 4 tools are the main facilitating tools when you are considering the completion of the project, or you are considering the meeting of the project objectives. So what are these four facilitating knowledge areas? The human resources, the communication management, the risk management, and the procurement management. So now let's move ahead and discuss, you know, how these facilitating knowledge areas and four core knowledge areas integrate into one common knowledge area, which is the project integration management. By project integration management, it means nothing but integrating all the different functions that are being carried out in a project to actually come up with a synergistic effect of all these activities, so that all the activities and functions that are carried out within the project are carried in a perfect unison, in perfect coordination with each other, ultimately leading to the grand success of the project. Unless there is this coordination amongst the projects, the project integration management is not achieved, and the ultimate success of the project is very difficult to be achieved. And that is why it is highly important to achieve this project integration. Now let's move ahead and discuss what are the project management tools and techniques. Talking about these project management tools and techniques, they are basically meant to assist the project managers and their teams in various aspects of project management. So, what are these, project management tools and techniques? Let's just try to find out. Any kind of project charter, scope statement, work breakdown structure, or any other project report that is created, any other specific project report that is created about the project is basically called as the project management tool. Now, there are multiple other things also, like the Gantt chart, the network diagrams, the critical path analysis, the critical change scheduling. They are the ones which are managing the time constraints, you know, the constraints in the project management. And these network diagrams actually help you to understand that, through what path our project is going to move activity by activity wise, so that we can find out which path will lead to the final completion of the project without having any delays in the project, which means that it is actually making your these Gantt charts, network diagrams, critical path analysis method, critical change scheduling methods, which are used very commonly used in project management. They actually help us to make the project more efficient by completing everything within time, not only on time but within time. Okay. Similarly, there are cost estimates and earned value management tools in cost estimates. They actually help you to manage the costs that are going to arise in your project. They help you to analyze, that in which activity, at which level of the breakdown structure, or maybe at which particular work package, what amount is getting dissipated and expended. Once we know correctly that okay, at this particular work package this much of amount was supposed to be dissipated and expended, but it went beyond the budgeted costs, then you can easily understand that where you are going wrong, whether the raw material required was you know not correctly utilized and we had to purchase some more, or maybe the human resources were not correctly utilized, and because of that the more human resource was needed, and since more human resource was needed at that time, the cost increased at that particular work package. So there could be multiple reasons of the increase in the cost. And these reasons are basically you know these are the reasons which actually increase the cost at multiple levels of the project. And it is highly important for one to understand that uh, at this level, maybe a particular uh, cost is increasing, or maybe the time that is being. So the cost estimates, the earned value, or maybe the total cost that is being arose in the project, they can be estimated properly through these network diagrams and Gantt charts. And you can find out that which method we need to apply. There are multiple scientific techniques which you will be studying as we move ahead in this course. And you will be studying that, which type of technique can be applied while conducting a project or while implementing a project, such that the costs can be curbed down and the time constraints can be reduced. So I hope that I'm making these tools and techniques and requirements of these roles and requirements of these tools and techniques in a project management absolutely clear to you. So, moving further in the discussion of this framework of project management, we also have to understand that how project management is related to the other disciplines of management, right? As I just told you while the discussion was going on, that project management in itself is a particular different course or a different stream of management studies. Lots and lots of learners are there, and MBA aspirants are there who choose project management as their majors, and they are highly they become highly skilled professionals. And they are recruited by big project management firms who work on different huge projects like marine engineering projects, shipping projects, sometimes projects like development of metro railways in any particular city, or maybe development of highways, and some kind of space research organizations also need project managers for managing their projects. So that is why you have to understand that project management in itself is a very huge and vast discipline to be studied, and it is also interrelated with the other disciplines of management studies. So lot of knowledge which is needed to manage the projects, and that is a very unique knowledge that is required. It is not available in the rest of the disciplines of management studies that we study, which means that you won't get this knowledge from human resource management, you won't get that knowledge from marketing management or finance management. And that is why the typical set of knowledge and expertise that is required in project management can only be achieved by studying this course. So that is why the study of project management is highly necessary. So any person who wishes to work as a project manager in future must have this knowledge, and of course a lot of expertise and experience in this field of you know project management. Also the application areas of the projects, along with the general management also. So if we just try to analyze the history of project management, some people argue that project management has been existing ever since the Egyptian pyramids were getting built, because they used to be a project in themselves. And when the Great Wall of China was getting constructed, project management existed that time also. And whenever you go to visit any other monument, historical monument, you would find that they are so huge, they are so massive and impressive. And at that time, you know there was no project management study separately. And for that matter, project management was very very necessary. And that is how actually project management has been existing ever since that time. Some people also consider that project management is a very modern study, and the modern project management that was developed, it actually started from Manhattan projects. But you know it's not like that. And they have always been existing, and the history of project management is you know has been existing ever since a long time. So you know there is a widespread spend and lot of expenditures happening on the projects. And that is why project managers and technical managers that are required in abundance in every type of project. And that is why having knowledge of project management is highly necessary for every manager that wants or wishes to work in this area, or wishes to work in any big project. So, with this, we have come to an end of today's session. I really hope that you have benefited a lot from today's session. And if there are any queries, please leave your comments in the message boxes. I would be really happy to reply to your queries. I would also be sharing the learning materials with you people, which are meant for the benefits of the learners. And that is all from my side for today. This is Dr. Swati Mishra from International School of Business Management at Suresh Gyan Vihar University, signing off. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.